Chris Crock program, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Okay, just as I'm telling you about some parking lot rage and store rage, we're going to combine these two. One of my colleagues tells me a story about parking lot rage. You know why I decided to talk about this? Because we have all been there. We have all seen somebody go nuts, either in a parking lot or inside the store. And it's like, what in the heck is wrong with this person? And, you know, the one thing I got to tell you is we need to realize is we don't know who is in that car. And it's interesting because my colleague who had a parking lot rage case regarding handicap parking, and then we got this lady here, and that was a lady, and we got this lady here in a case I'm about to play the audio for you from a parking lot rage case that was in the Daily Mail today. It's pretty crazy what this chick was doing. And then I had today my mechanic. I've told you my mechanic's incredible. I love the guy. He was over today, did some work on my car in the cold weather. I told him he could wait till whenever he was ready today. I'm like, okay. That's my wife's like, what do you do? I'm like, I didn't ask him. I told him whenever you want. She's yelling at me. But he told me about a oil. He was in the what do you call it? The oil filter section, and there was oil filter rage. Oh, you can't get away from it. So I want to hear, before we get into this, I want to hear your rage story. Have you ever seen people raging at somebody else, or maybe at you, inside of a store, or even at you, or in a parking lot? And what did you do when it happened? Did you reach for your phone to record it? And sometimes I don't say that as in you're a freak show. Don't be doing that. You should do something to help. But sometimes you do it to document it because, like, I mean, you're like, I ain't getting involved in this, but I'll record it, and it's because it's evidence this person's insane. Did you reach for your phone to record it? Did you intervene, or did you just leave, flee? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. So here's the first case. This was in the Daily Mail today. Shocking moment. Enraged female driver spits on man's truck in angry parking lot dispute after collision in her Mercedes. Woman hits him, calls him white trash, and gets cuffed by cops. I've got the full audio of this. It looks like he pulled, you know how sometimes you can drive in from the wrong side of the parking, you know, and drive through the spot to the next spot? Okay, so that way their back is parallel to your front, you know what I mean? Like, and so she's yelling at him because the front of his car is parked the opposite way of her car, and he's parking the wrong way, which is irrelevant. She can't get out of her car because it's so close to his. She's yelling at him and screaming at him. You'll hear this in a second. She spits on his window. She eventually gets out. He's recording her. She smacks the phone out of his hand once. A chick against a guy. She does a lot of cusses, including a Jewish slur. And she then smacks the phone out of the guy's hand again. The cops see this as they pulled up. They've been called. This guy called the cops. And they pull up and they go on there. You'll hear them on their loudspeaker telling her to knock it off. And they put her in cuffs because she's screaming and yelling out of control. Here's the audio. Let's see. Where is my... Wait a minute. Where is it? I don't see it in here. Nope. All right. Well, I guess I'll have to play it off the Daily Mail's website. They bleep it all and everything, but... I don't know where it is. I thought I sent it to him. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Sent. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm going to play this for you in a second. But she goes nuts. She spits on him and on the car. And she does not end up spitting on this guy, but she gets arrested. I'll have to play it for you when we come back. But she's driving up. Here's the other thing, too. She's driving a black Mercedes-Benz C300, exiting the car while the man is driving a gray truck. She's in juicy couture tracksuit and everything. So she's got lots of money, it looks like, and she's a miserable, screaming wench, if you will. I mean, for no other better word. She really is. All right. I'm going to pull it right off this thing. Moment enraged. Okay. It'll come right up. Here we go. I got it. Okay. This is wonderful. There we go. I know exactly where to go. Here it is. Come on. It's going to play here in a sec. It's quite the adventure with this lady, and here we go.
She just spit on my car now. You can see it leaking down. She's spitting on me. You drove into me.
No.
You drove into me. The front of your car hit mine.
You're supposed to be on that side.
You drove into me.
On this side.
You drove into me, ma'am. Ma'am, you drove into me. Ma'am, you drove the front of your car into me.
Bro, what the?
You put the front of your car into mine.
No,
I didn't the back of my car into you.
Stop right there in the middle of the road.
Because you almost hit me.
Reason,
You almost hit me.
you want to do this? Look how far you are.
Wait for the cops.
On the road.
All right, I'm going to jump it up a little bit more to the next part here where it gets juicy, and then cops show up. It's great.
You're supposed to be on this side.
Front of your car into mine.
Stop recording me.
The cops.
Stop recording me.
The cops.
Stop recording me.
I'm pressing charges now. I'm pressing charges now.
Stop. You can't press charges.
I'm pressing
You're
charges.
recording me without my permission.
She already smacked him once with the phone. Okay, here's more.
Illegal.
Knock it off.
Yep.
Stop recording me.
So that's the cop. I'm going to go back again. This is great.
It's illegal.
Knock it off.
Yep.
Stop recording me. Stop recording me.
She smacked him again while the cops are there watching the whole thing.
Stop recording me.
Phone.
Stop recording me.
Now the phone's on the ground. It got knocked out of his hand because she smacked him. And by the way, producer Garrett says unstable. Imagine this lady is next to you and you don't know it, and then all of a sudden she starts unloading on you because maybe you parked too close or something. You don't know who these people are.
You just hit my phone.
Now she walks up to the cop, and he's
Just
putting
spit on
her
me.
in
She hit my
cuffs.
phone. She hit my car.
Right, this thing over here. Hold on. Let me put my phone in my pocket. Pig. Let me put my phone in my
She called the cop a B word too. Oh.
pocket. Pig.
Stop.
Bruh, this is it, bro. What the is this shit? How you gonna?
She's acting all ghetto and gangster, but she's driving a probably $125,000 car, and she's in a probably a $500 tracksuit.
Stop. You're not under arrest right now.
How you gonna arrest me? I got places to be.
I got places to be. She said, "You effing Jewish B," as in I think B word. The woman says as the man laughs at her. So yeah, you don't know who's in this car. Now we don't know if she ended up getting arrested. She was cuffed, but that was just putting her in custody. The officer said, "I'm not arresting you." So we don't know how it was adjudicated. I want you to tell me about your parking lot rage or store rage, in-store rage that you've seen or had happen to you. Have you seen people raging at somebody else like this in a store or even in a parking lot or at you? And did you reach for your phone and record it or intervene or just leave? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Up next, one of my colleagues tonight telling me about a similar type of a rage incident happening over a handicap spot here in North Texas, and my mechanic story today about oil change rage. Somebody throwing oil filters at him across the store as he fled the store. Next on the news on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Okay, so you have store rage, road rage, parking lot rage, I should say. I'm talking about when you're at a store inside or in the parking lot. We have this lady that was screaming and yelling and spitting on a guy's car because she didn't like the way he parked. She was cuffed. We don't know if she was charged, but she was cuffed because she was out of control, and the cop got there. She hit the guy. The cop saw it and told her to knock it off on the intercom thing from his loudspeaker on his car. Still didn't stop her. So have you seen people raging at someone else inside of a store or even at you or in a parking lot? And did you reach for your phone to record it or intervene or just leave? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. So two of my colleagues have now given me stories. One just gave me a story where he pulled up to a handicapped, he's got a handicap permit and everything, pulls up to a handicap permit, looks at the lady next to him. He didn't shame her, and he just looked at her for a second, goes into the McDonald's, and while he's in McDonald's, everybody starts looking out. She's screaming, honking her horn, flashing her lights, and she spits on his car as well a bunch of times. And the cops did come, but she fled before the cops got there. So he said she must have been freaking out because he looked at her. He's like, I can't even look at somebody now when I pull up next to a handicap spot. Presumably she was freaking out because maybe she thought he was questioning her ability to be in there. She didn't have a permit. He noticed that. I don't mess with people anymore that do that. I get suspicious. I don't like it, but I don't say anything or do anything because you never know. Because some people might have something, or I don't want to be the guy that tries to call them out and I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I just let it go. It's like a pregnant woman. You know what? When she's pregnant, you go, I think she's pregnant. Don't say anything. Yeah, I wouldn't. No, unless it's obviously screaming, pregnant! Even then, I'm still reluctant. I think I've been that guy once. Hey, are you pregnant? Oh, no! I think it was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I don't know what. I'm like, I don't ever want to be that guy. Now, my mechanic, Bill the mechanic, Bill told me today, he was at my house. I've told you he's over the top, and he's a total character, but we love him. He was at the oil change place. There's always problems. Some of them are his fault, I'm not going to lie, because he just can't restrain himself a little bit, but that's okay. So he's at an oil change place and or a car auto parts place, and he's in the oil. He's trying to get. He says he's trying to get a oil filter, and there's a Russian guy. He says that's sitting here staring at this huge book with all the filters in it. And my mechanic says you can't trust the internet. He's like, you look it up, you use it, it does not work. You have to look at the book. So he's waiting, and this guy's taking like 10 minutes. So it just goes up to the guy and says, "Hey, can I help you with that a little?" My guy's like a master ASC certified, whatever. He's like he's amazing, okay? And the Russian guy says, "No, I'm just having trouble. I can't find this thing here." But he wouldn't accept his help. So then, like several minutes later, he comes back and he goes, I told you, you if you can't have a problem, I'll help you look at it. And the guy gets smart at him. My mechanic walks by him and hands him a. This is here you go. This is where it goes nuts. He walks by with a roll of paper towels and hands it to him like a handoff, but the guy didn't pick it up. He just dropped it, and he goes, "Here, you're going to need this when your oil leaks." In other words, like you don't know what you're doing. So that was his mistake. Because then this guy freaked out and started whipping oil filters at him from across the store. So my mechanic friend, and he says even worse. He goes, they have to buzz you out at these places now. Did you know that these auto parts stores they have a buzzer to buzz you out? I guess they must have too many thefts. So he says, thankfully, as he's looking up to the exit, there's somebody walking in, so the door's already open, so he just ran out the door and left. He says, I don't have any idea what happened after that, but he was throwing filters at me across. Okay, now, producer Garrett was telling me he was at a racetrack trying to get some gasoline, some petrol, as they say in Britain, I guess. He was in line, and I guess the guy in front of him was, at the register? He's at the register, and you're right behind him, and the guy turns around. Is he turn around at you or just yell without even looking at you? He turns around out of nowhere, and he just yells at you, would you what? Would you get the F back? Back the F off, because I keep seeing you moving closer and closer to the line? Within the line. Oh, it was during COVID. Oh, yes. Dr. Fauci admitted that whole thing was fake. There was no rule. There's no 6 feet thing, 3 feet thing. It was totally arbitrary. There's nothing in science that backs it up. Follow the science. That guy must have been a liberal who followed the science to yelling at you and screaming at you. So there you go. Look at all those fun things. So you tell me your stories of people raging. Have you ever seen somebody raging inside of a store or in a parking lot? And what did you do when you saw that? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Did you see that Joe Biden? This is his song. Hey, I'm destroying the country, the world, and everything. Got 3 wars going on. I'm bankrupting you and making my rich friends richer. But today he says he's launched a war on bank overdraft fees. Did you see this? He is trying to now force the companies, banks, I should say, he's trying to force them to limit their fees for overdraft protection, not protection, but just overdraft, or bouncing a check. He's trying to limit it to $3. So the bank can only charge you $3 for overdraft fees. And, you know, as soon as I saw that, I read the story, I took notes, I highlighted, but I'm going to tell you something. I didn't even need to read the story. This is bad. This is bad because people who don't pay their freaking bills, people who are irresponsible, people who are bad money managers, the banks make money off them, and they make a lot. You'll hear about this. They make a ton. We've all messed up, haven't we? And overdrafted or you know, I don't know if I've ever bounced a check. I don't think I have, but I have not overdrawn in a long time. Like this year, one time, and it was because I somehow messed up my numbers, and it said you have a negative account, so I immediately just shoved some money in there. I got more than we need to be able to take care of that, so it was not a problem. I just miscalculated in my weekly budget thing because I don't leave extra money in that account, in the checking account. So, oops. But he wants to, he's playing a game here. And this is, hey, poor people, I'm destroying your lives with inflation, grocery, gas prices. You can't afford a house anymore, can't afford to rent a house anymore, can't afford to live. But hey, when you bounce your check because you're irresponsible and can't afford to live because of me, I'm going to make it $3 instead of $25 or $30. I'm going to tell you why I don't think that's a good idea at all. And I'm going to ask you, do you support lowering overdraft fees from your bank from around $30 to $3? I'm going to tell you why it's a bad idea. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. All right, so the Biden administration comes out today as they're destroying our economy, destroying poor folks, middle-class folks, but doing really wonderfully for college-educated, upper-class white liberals in the cities and suburbs who just don't see any problems with this. And here's what we have. Since you can't, you know, so he does these things where he's destroying our economy and everything, but then he also claims to be helping the people that he's actually hurting. Look at this. He wants to drop overdraft fees to $3. It's an administration proposal from Biden that could limit bank overdraft fees to $3. White House could potentially cut billions in dollars that large banks earn from customers overdrawing their accounts. Quote, Biden crowed today, "For too long, some banks have charged exorbitant overdraft fees, sometimes $30 or more. Now if it hits the most vulnerable Americans the hardest, while all banks pad their bottom lines." Or all while banks pad their bottom lines. Banks call it a service. I call it exploitation. Staffers clap. What do you call it? What do you call it when a bank charges you or me or anybody $25 or $30 for overdraft on your bank account? What do you call it when you're charged a fee, whether it's $10, $20, $30, for drafting more than is in your account? You call that exorbitant? You call that exploitation? Or do you call it a fee for what happens when you overdraw? And do you support lowering overdraft fees from your bank from around $30 to $3? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I do not support lowering the fees because I don't do this. And if I do, I'll call and see if they can change it. And if they won't, I'll pay it, and it definitely won't happen again. We all go through crap like this, right? Here's what's happening. People, and the banks make a ton of money off this. I'm going to give you those details in a minute. A ton. So much so, and the media loves stories like this, so much so that one bank executive named his boat the Overdraft. Overdraft fees. $280 billion in overdraft fees in the last 20 years. Oh, but that's over 20 years. So what does that average? 2.8 billion overdraft fees per year. It became so popular, the CEO of one bank named his boat the Overdraft. But it's a big moneymaker apparently for them. Well, it should be because they're the ones risking their capital by, working with us. And somebody's got to pay it. So if we want to pay for it with our own money and we don't want to pay an overdraft, then put your money in there. And if you can't afford it or you don't know how to manage your money, then figure out a different way. They're covering it for you, and there's people that are deadbeats. And there's people who are not good with their credit, not good with their finances, and those people have to learn. If they don't learn, they have to pay. And if they don't want to pay and they don't learn, they can't get an account. It's like when the left tries to give all these loans and put people in homes they don't belong in. If you can't afford the house, you don't belong in it. It's not equity. It's not diversity, whatever. It's called, if you can't afford it, then don't go in that house. And we should not be putting people in houses they can't afford to be in, nor should a company be forced to do that. To me, I feel like this is the same thing. The bank's charging you for your irresponsibility, and now Joe Biden's like, I'm going to let you be irresponsible and pretend like you're a victim. And I'm going to stick it to the banks. Well, what are the banks going to do? If we put these fees on the banks, where are they going to come from? You can answer this for me. It's $9 billion a year from the fees. That's what they have here. Banks taking about $9 billion a year from the fees. So $30 fee typically charged for an overdraft. So that comes in $9 billion a year. So where do you think the $9 billion a year that goes to these banks' profit, where do you think it's going to come from if Joe Biden gets this new law where he only can charge $3 for an overdraft? It's going to come from all of us. We're all going to have to pay more in fees. They're not going to not lose their money. They have a right to make their money. Wouldn't you rather have people that are irresponsible with their banking pay more for their banking than you and me? That's what this is. This is a program to get everybody else to pay for people who are irresponsible. Just like his student loan thing, everything. So I'm a hard no on this. He says Joe Biden says banks call it a service for the fee for an overdraft. I call it exploitation. Dude, you didn't call it exploitation 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Dude, you were a senator for a decade, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 decades, and you were in the banking capital of the world in Delaware, and you're going to tell me you care about overdraft fees? No, you don't. This is a gimmick to buy off people's votes because you're horribly, horribly losing in this in your popularity, and you're going to lose your race in the fall. Banks are expected to fight the proposal. This was in CBS News today. Banks expected to fight the proposed restrictions with a massive lobbying campaign in the works. It would make it significantly harder, the banks say, to offer overdraft protection to customers, including those who have few, if any, other means to access needed liquidity. It's effectively, they're proposing to take away overdraft protection from consumers who want and need it. That's exactly right. They're going to screw the people they care about the most, they claim to care about the most, and stick every one of us with fees, even when we're responsible. I don't want to pay for other people's crap. I'm sick of it. That's what this whole administration is about. Consumer Reports notes that 8% of bank customers, mostly lower income, account for nearly 75% of the revenue banks generate from overdraft fees. See, this is a Joe Biden free check bouncing program for people who are irresponsible with their checking. No, absolutely not. Charge on is what I say for the banks. Russell and Keller, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP and 93.3 FM.
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I was telling your screener, I agree with you. I mean, I told him that I had mistakenly bounced a check the other day, and I do it about once every 3 or 4 years. Just got busy, didn't pay attention.
How much?
But when I had to pay $30,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be, it sticks with you. That's the way it should be.
Right.
I mean, if it was $3, I'd be like, it's nothing. But you gotta teach them something. There's got to be consequences for your actions.
Yeah.
Period.
Totally
Whether
agree.
you need to or not. And I told your screener, I heard you say this before I had to turn my phone down.
Mm.
But if they do this, they're going to get the banks will get the money elsewhere.
Yes.
They'll raise your service fees on your checking account or something.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up. It'd be like other stuff they want to do. Responsible people will end up paying for the irresponsible. So
That's it.
for what it's worth.
This is a trick to buy votes for lower income people and allowing them to be irresponsible and making everybody else pay for their mistake and pretending like they're a victim when they're irresponsible. Just like with student loans. You're a victim, even though you're not. It's
I'm
really
glad
sick.
You said that.
Yeah.
I went to school on student loans, paid every penny off.
Me too.
Didn't like it, but I signed up for the deal. If you take a loan out, you pay it off, period.
Yeah, me too. And, my son's taking some out. He's got a lot of scholarships. He's doing very well with that, but he's still taking some out, and he'll owe some, and he'll pay it responsibly. So this is all a lie, and it's all BS, and it's filthy, and it's disgusting. I appreciate your call, Russell.
Go Trump? I don't know.
Amen.
Right?
Go Trump. Jason in Frisco, you're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having my call. I greatly appreciate it.
Good evening.
My wife is a banker, and I was a banker in a past life.
Mm-hmm. In a past life.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
just to your point, that kind of stuff happens, and it seems like the banks are willing to charge $30, even $40 in a lot of cases. However, this is all you have to do. It's like dealing with the IRS, right? You just talk to your bank and say, "Look, I screwed up. I didn't realize this was coming through, and I made a mistake. Is there anything
Yes.
maybe you can meet me halfway on?" I guarantee you 90% of the time, 95% of the time, they're going to say, "Yeah, you've been a customer of ours for a long time. We don't need to make $30 off of you. And, you admitted you screwed up, and, yeah, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it."
You know what?
They can refund those fees.
Yeah, that's what happens to me when I mess up sometimes. I just call them and ask them. And usually I have a reasonable excuse. Even if I kind of know I'm wrong, I'll still ask, and they will 9 times out of 10 forgive the fee.
Yep.
There
that's
you
it.
go.
I mean, just be nice. Treat people like the way you want to be treated. It's God's rule, and there you go.
So you agree with me that this is a stupid way to try to buy off votes and make everybody else pay for their mistakes?
It's like college loan debt repayment.
Yeah, you're a victim. No, you're not. You got the degree. You're using it. It's on your resume. Shut up and pay your bill.
No, I 100% agree with you. Absolutely.
And yet
As
he's
always,
telling everybody
you are
you're a
right
victim.
on the money.
He's telling everybody you're a victim. You're owed this. Vote for me. I'll be your provider. BS.
Yeah.
Jason, thanks for your great call tonight.
All right, man. You're a good man. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
You are too, brother. Thank you very much. All right, coming up next, you got to hear this. Naked man, unfortunately, beats and kills another man here in DFW and attacks another with a piece of firewood. And this is exactly one of the reasons why I carry a firearm. We'll talk about that next. Plus, did you hear what Jamie Dimon said at Davos about how awesome Trump is on CNBC? Amen. That's next. Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP. And now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. So, when I saw this, I'm going, wait a minute, this is exactly why you should not carry if you don't want to, if you don't feel like it, etc. But this is exactly why I'm like, man, I don't know how anybody would do this without carrying. This poor guy had to run. That's it. He just had to run. And hope that he didn't get hit and killed like the other guy did with a hunk of wood, firewood. So let me tell you about this story here. Naked man killed Fort Worth delivery driver by beating him with firewood. Ouchity, ouch, ouch, ouch. Man was arrested after he allegedly beat a delivery driver to death with firewood in Fort Worth, WFA TV Channel 8 says. Cops say they responded Sunday night to the Wendover Drive. 51-year-old Scotty Edward Jackson dead with injuries to his upper torso and head. Autopsy says that his cause of death was blunt force injuries. On the arrest affidavit obtained by Channel 8, WFA TV Channel 8, a man allegedly walked up while naked to this man and another man and struck him in the head with a piece of firewood. The two guys were at a location with a U-Haul filled with firewood. They were unloading it. So this crazed, naked lunatic walked up to them while holding a key and told the homeowner, "This is my house. I have the key right here." They told him to leave. The homeowner and the firewood delivery guy told him to leave. The crazed naked guy then allegedly grabbed a piece of firewood and struck the man in the head, the delivery driver in the head. He then struck the other man with the firewood, who tried to block his strike with his arm, and then the other man picked up a piece of wood and blocked another strike as he ran away. The naked, crazed man chased the other guy back to his house, the guy called 911 while the crazed, naked man returned to continue to strike the dead man and then dump a wheelbarrow on him. This happened in Fort Worth. It says then the naked man entered an Airbnb. I wonder if he was staying at an Airbnb and drugged up and high beyond all belief, and then came out naked and beat the hell out of somebody, killing the guy. Officers approached the home, could hear yelling inside. Front door was open. Officers identified themselves, requested the person yelling to come outside. The crazed naked man walked out of the home, still naked, continued yelling at cops. He was tased, detained, and taken to JPS for an evaluation. When you have somebody picking up firewood, trying to hit you over the head with it, that's when you can draw your weapon. If they swing at you, swing at somebody, kill them. You got to shoot them. You don't want to kill them, but you can, stop the threat. I suspect the guy like this, if he was doing that and you had to shoot him, I suspect you'd probably have to shoot him multiple times. He's probably on some high on some crazy drug. I don't know, but that's exactly why I carry, because the one time you don't know. Who would ever think you'd be struck to death with a piece of wood in Fort Worth while you're getting a delivery in front of your house? It's horrifying. It's horrific. I want you to hear Jamie Dimon, because he literally is totally MAGA the way he talks here. He was on CNBC Squawk Box, and looks like they're in Davos, and Jamie Dimon tells them to back off of MAGA and how good Trump has done. This is fantastic.
Playing itself out over the next 12 months. This is an election year. We've been talking a lot about what just took place in Iowa and trying to understand how the American public is going to feel about the economy may ultimately dictate how the president is decided.
Yes, I agree with that. I think it's a mistake to assume that everything's hunky-dory. And, and when stock markets are up, it's kind of like this little drug we all feel. Like, it's just great, But remember, we've had so much fiscal and monetary stimulation. So I'm a little more on the cautious side, that we are facing a lot of things in 24 or 25. And we mentioned Ukraine, the terrorist activity in Israel, the Red Sea, quantitative tightening, which I still question.
They've kind of jumped up to a certain place here. There's a point in the interview, though, where he talks about the MAGA movement and people need to go much easier on Trump. Let me see if I can find it for you here, because it's kind of buried in this long cut they had. I don't know why they changed that. But let me play that here. Oh, I got it right here. Here it is. Here we go. Right here. Listen to this.
Great hand. But when people say MAGA, they're actually looking at people voting for Trump, and they think they're voting, and they're basically scapegoating them, that you are like him. But I don't think they're voting for Trump because of his family values. Now, if you look, just take a step back, be honest. He was kind of right about NATO, kind of right about immigration. Mm-hmm. He grew the economy quite well.
China virus.
Tax reform worked. He was right about some of China. I don't like what he did.
No, I said China virus.
Yeah, I understand. He may have been right. And I don't like how he said things about Mexico. I don't like, but he wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues, and that's why they're voting for him. And I think people should be a little more respectful of our fellow citizens. And when you guys have people up here, you should always ask the why. Not like it's a binary thing. You're supporting Trump, you're not supporting Trump. Why are you supporting Trump?
It's hard to hate 75 million of your fellow Americans.
I agree.
It's done crazy.
And, the Democrats have done a pretty good job with the deplorables, hugging onto their Bibles and their beer and their guns. I mean, really? Could we just stop that stuff and actually grow up and treat other people with respect and listen to them a little bit? And I do think the economy will affect. And I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt Biden's election campaign.
Boom. Nice, huh? Well said, Jamie Dimon. Well said.